7th grade honors. We're going to continue on to handout 2. So we started unit 4, which is about angles, okay, a lot of triangles. And with handout 1, I went over a lot of vocabulary, okay, what these angles are called, what they measure, what they look like. So if you haven't done handout 1, I highly suggest you go back and do that now, fill in your vocabulary. Understand your vocabulary before you move on to this. So this right here, 7th honors, you might notice I circled this as extra credit. This is a more difficult assignment right here where you're going to do a few questions on your own. But if you want to rise to the challenge here, if you want to give it a try, then please just do a couple questions on your own, but I'm going to guide you through the first couple examples, okay? Handout 2, we can use our knowledge of the angles formed by parallel lines and transversals to find missing measurements. In the following examples, we'll write down and solve equations to help us find missing information. Number 1, Elm Street is parallel to Oak Street. This is Elm, this is Oak. And Cedar Drive cuts diagonally across the two streets. Find the measure of each marked angle. So to review what we did in handout 1, we see two parallel lines, right? Elm Street and Oak Street are two parallel lines, kind of like the railroad tracks, they're parallel. Whenever a line cuts across the railroad tracks, like Cedar Drive, we call that Cedar Drive a transversal when it cuts across the two parallel lines. So here's what we know. We know that this angle right here on Elm Street is equal to this angle right here on Oak Street. They might have it labeled differently, but we know that that's the same measurement as this one right here. So both marked angles are equal or congruent. Both those angles are equal. And what we need to know is the value of x. How do we find that? We just set up a basic equation. So hopefully from unit 2, we're pretty solid with our equations. We can just add these together and we can find out what x equals. So here's our plan. We're going to go 9x plus 61 plus 3x. Oops. Sorry about that. 9x plus 61, excuse me, is going to equal 3x plus 103. All right, so the strategy, always get your variables on one side, get your constants, your numbers without variables, on the other side. Let's get rid of this 3x by subtracting 3x from both sides. And we are left with 6x plus 61 equals 103. Let's get our constants on the other side. Let's get rid of this 61 by subtracting 61 from both sides. These cross out, and we're left with 6x equals, what's 103 minus 61? Let me just do the elementary math right here. 103 minus 61. And we're left with 42. Now we got to divide both sides by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 42 divided by 6 is 7, so x equals 7. Okay, so if x equals 7, let's just plug it back into the expression here. 9 times 7 is 63. 63 plus 61 gives us 124 degrees. And we could check that by plugging it into this equation. We should get the same answer. 3 times 7 equals 21. 21 plus 103 gives us 124. Okay, so this is our solution. 124 degrees for both angles. We knew they were the same. Okay, now let's Let's try one more. Number 2, the side view of a table is shown, and the top of the table is parallel to the floor. Find the measure of each marked angle. So what do we know here? These are supplementary. Okay, one of these angles is less than 90 degrees. The other one is greater than 90 degrees. We know that if we add these two angles together, we're going to get what number? Hopefully you said 180. So we could put both marked angles are supplementary. Meaning that they add up to 180. Okay, what we need to know, like the last one, what is the value of x? Plan and work. Okay, how can we do this here? 17x minus 9. So we're going to have 17x minus 9 plus 4x equals 180. Let's combine like terms here. 17x plus 4x will give us 21x minus 9 equals 180. And we got to get rid of this constant now. Okay, get your constants on one side. We'll keep our variables on the other. 21x equals 180 plus 9 is 189. And to get x by itself, we got to divide both sides by 21. So what is 189 divided by 21? That should equal 9. Let me just check it real quick. At 18, yep. So x equals 9. So x equals 9, but we have to find out the measure of both sides. So let's plug our 9 back into the expression here. Let's start with an easy one. 4 times 9 gives us 36 degrees for this one. So this right here is 36 degrees. And if that one equals 36 degrees, what would this one equal? Okay, 180 minus 36 gives us 144. Yep. 144 degrees. Okay, so these are our two angles. And this was our angle for the first one. Okay, so if there's any confusion on that, please let me know in class, but let's do at least one more example on the back. So we see 6 more questions on the back, and let me just guide you through this third one. Set up and solve equations to find the missing angle measurements in each of the following. All right, looking at number 3, these right here, these are supplementary also. You notice how one is less than 90 degrees. This is an acute angle. This one's obtuse, meaning it's more than 90 degrees. So if we add both these together, what number should we get? 3x plus 7 plus 10x plus 17 equals 180. Sorry, I ran out of space there. Okay, so let me rewrite that because that's just sloppy looking. 3x plus 7 plus 10x plus 17 equals 180. Let's go ahead and combine like terms here. We get 13x plus 24 equals 180. And now we're going to subtract 24 from both sides. And we're going to get 13x equals, what's 180 minus 24? 156. Yep, 156. Okay, now what is 156 divided by 13? Looks like 12 to me, but let me do a little check here. We get 6, 2. Yep, 156. So x equals 12. All right, the value of x is 12, just using algebra. And what are our angle measurements? If we plug 12 back into the expression, 3 times 12 gives us 36. 36 plus 7 gives us 43. So we got 43 degrees for one angle. So if we know that this one's 43 degrees, this one has to be 180 minus 43. 180 minus 43 gives us 137. Okay, so taking what we learned about the measurements of angles, our geometry, and plugging in our algebra, see if you could come up with good solutions for these next 5. And please bring me your questions to class, and I'm glad to help you out with this extra credit, okay? Thank you and good luck.